Hello, welcome to today's immigration tidbit. Okay, well, first, you need to realize what it means if a felony is properly vacated. Now, just so you know, there are times where a felony is vacated, but it's not done in compliance with the immigration law, and it won't be recognized. All that work, and it won't be recognized. So you want to make sure you have it done by someone who knows what they're doing. But let's say that it is properly vacated. There would be no reason to wait 10 years. That's because legally, if it's vacated, it never occurred. It never existed. There was never a conviction. So to wait 10 years is like saying, well, after you improperly had a conviction, which wasn't really a conviction because it's been vacated, you still need to wait 10 years. That would be a travesty of justice if that were the case. So the day that it is properly vacated, you can do what needs to be done in order to proceed forward. Now, there are different situations. Okay, it depends where this person is. If this person's already been deported because of this felony, and now the felony was properly vacated, and this person is in his or her own country, you're going to have to do different procedures to get them back. Okay, one is to get them paroled back into the United States. Another is to get them paroled back in the United States in front of the judge after you do a motion to reopen based on the fact of an improper deportation. Another is to make various motions in federal court. Nothing's easy. Okay, it's not like if you vacate it that that person will be able to turn around and come back in the next day. The Border Patrol, the people in control of allowing him in, they honestly have no idea what the document being vacated does. And also they're not in a position of power to say, okay, well, I see that this crime has been vacated, therefore I understand based on my knowledge that the deportation order was improperly executed and that it should never have been since you never had the crime. They can't do that. They can only see what is in the books, basically. So it would be a matter of attempting to get an order from the judge, the immigration judge, to vacate the removal order. Okay, that's a different kind of vacating, but if the removal order was entered incorrectly, which if a crime existed and it was later vacated and the whole removal order is based upon that vacated crime, then the removal order needs to be vacated. Now, a lot of times, the person is actually not outside the U.S., but the person is inside the U.S. So if the person's inside the U.S., that will also vary on the situation as to what can be done. Same scenario, let's say, where the person has a removal order but never left. Now, they can definitely do a motion to reopen based on the fact that the crime is vacated, get into immigration court, get the judge to vacate the removal order, terminate proceedings, and allow them then to proceed. Now, the question is, how can they proceed? Because someone who has a deportation order because of a felony, they may have had their green card previously. They may not have. So if they didn't, then that person, even though they no longer are removable based upon the fact that they don't have a felony, they're still unlawfully present in that they don't have any documents to show why they can legally be here. And that varies on the situation. I mean, they may qualify to adjust status if you're a U.S. citizen. And even if you're a lawful permanent resident, become a U.S. citizen, they may qualify, and that depends how they entered the country and so forth. There's a lot of ifs with this particular situation. But what you have to understand is that in a situation where someone is having to do a motion to vacate a felony, that means they're an aggravated felon under immigration law. Because if they weren't an aggravated felon under immigration law, it's likely that they would qualify for different kinds of criminal waivers. It's also likely if they had their green card and were deported because they're an aggravated felon, that if they weren't an aggravated felon and still had a crime, they could have applied, if they qualify, for cancellation of removal for for lawful permanent residence. The only criteria for that, for disqualification, is if it's an aggravated felon. So, as you can see, there's a lot of different scenarios that happen, but I get sometimes people who want a consult and they go, can you guarantee 100% that this crime will get vacated if you do the motions? And obviously the answer is no. And if anybody guarantees that a judge is going to vacate a crime, you need to not pay that person money, turn around, walk out, and not enter into any agreement with them. Because no attorney, first of all, can guarantee the outcome. If an outcome was guaranteed, you wouldn't need an attorney. You just check the boxes, say yes, say no, whatever, and boom, it goes through and it's done. The attorney is the one who argues the case, who presents the evidence, who tries to convince the judge. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But what I can guarantee people who ask that is that if they don't do this, then they're not coming back to the U.S., or they're not going to be admissible, at least under current law, for the rest of their lives. So there's zero chance of having any immigration possibilities if you don't vacate it, if you're an aggravated felon. Okay, I mean, it is possible to reduce the crime too, just so that the crime isn't an aggravated felony under immigration law. So, given that, if you get someone who knows what they're doing and who can make good arguments and who says to you, well, obviously it's an uphill battle, but there's a reasonable chance, then you should take that chance. Unless you either want to wait outside the country the rest of your life or stay in hiding here every day. Because, the reality is if you knew that you were going to be an aggravated felon and deported the rest of your life, or be hiding the rest of your life, you would never have so easily pled guilty to it. Okay, you would have changed things. And that's the whole purpose of trying to vacate it, and that you did not have the proper knowledge of what exactly you were pleading to. Okay? So that's that.